Ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha. Cheating has been around since the desire to win existed. Trickling down through time, it has become a continual practice in some form or another, taking its shape based upon the system in which it is employed. In many video games a long time ago, one could enter cheat codes in order to gain a clear advantage against one's AI opponents. We all recognize the descendants of those once-upon-a-time developer modifications, as they are currently what are now known as microtransactions within single-player games. And when dealing with a solely single-player aspect, there's nothing wrong with cheat codes. When you are battling against the AI, the only person whose gameplay is altered is your own. But then multiplayer gaming became a thing, and along with it came people that possessed within them the desire to cheat, to gain an unfair and unjustified advantage against their opponents. In this, they employ all sorts of sophisticated methods in current-day games and sell the products of their efforts to other cheaters to be able to take advantage of others. This is an ever-present concern for game developers because if their game is overrun by these bad actors, then regular players will move on to other games in an effort to at least have a fighting chance. After all, no one wants to play a game they know they're going to lose every time unless they get very lucky, and as is generally the case, the more popular a game is, the more people that game attracts, and as that game attracts more people, it also attracts more cheaters as well. And in this regard, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has been hit extremely hard by cheaters over the course of the last 6 months. Originally, the number of players actively playing PUBG was predicted and assumed to be a tiny fraction of its current numbers. The developers of the game, Bluehole Entertainment, were completely unprepared for the scope of success that the game has achieved, and they've been left scrambling in order to keep up with the sudden titanic demands being placed on the resources by the extremely large player base. And for once, I actually have nothing bad to say about Bluehole or PUBG in this regard, although I do have some criticism that I will leave for more towards the end of this video. I know that many of you are well aware that I'm not a fan of the game, and I find it to be extremely overrated. However, there is no denying the game's success, and there is certainly no denying how much people enjoy the game. Unfortunately for the developers and for many gamers, their anti-cheat systems that seemed quite adequate initially have not scaled too well with the extremely increased player base and has all but buckled under the strain. In spite of what could be seen as a very admirable effort by BattlEye, the game's current anti-cheat system, since then, Bluehole and Tencent have taken the issue of cheaters on the game's platform extremely seriously and have taken several very large strides in an attempt to stem the flood to varying degrees of success. And you can imagine just how huge this issue is when Bluehole has managed to, through BattlEye, catch and ban over 1,044,000 cheat accounts in January alone. Unfortunately, this has not been nearly enough. As a result of the clear and ever-present cheating issue on the game, many people have been calling for a region lock of China, as it would seem that the vast majority of offenders come from that country. In response to this, during an interview with Polygon back in December of 2017, Brendan Greene had the following to say. It's quite disgraceful to see. The Chinese player base is very passionate for Battlegrounds and they love our game. They're the reason we have such a high number of concurrent users. Yes, there's some cheaters that come out of there, but the majority of our Chinese players just love our game and love playing it. This kind of xenophobic attitude that a lot of Western players seems to have online is just disgraceful. It's 2017. We live on one big planet together, what the fuck? I'm quite ashamed of those players that shout these things out. We want to create a great space for everyone to enjoy across the globe, and locking one region out, I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. And I do have something to say in that regard, but I'll leave my opinions to the very end, so please bear with me for a few more seconds. In their effort to continue combating cheaters within the game, Bluehole have released an anti-cheat update that should have gone live as of a few hours ago. In a statement made on their website, they had the following to say. As already mentioned in our dev blog, we will be deploying an anti-cheat system tomorrow. The update will go live at February 5th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and there will be no downtime for the servers. The new anti-cheat feature will block different helper programs that alter the graphics or aid in gameplay in some way. And what these programs have in common is that they all hook into our game and transform game files. Programs that are not used to gain an unfair advantage can also be blocked if they behave like cheats. One of the popular programs that will be blocked is Reshade. You will not be banned for having it on your system, but you will no longer be able to play PUBG while it is installed. Please uninstall Reshade or any other blocked program and launch the game again. Some players may find that reinstalling PUBG is also necessary. Some programs that do not affect gameplay may be blocked temporarily. NVIDIA Shadowplay, video audio capture programs, etc., which I'm guessing to mean possibly OBS and XSplit, as we hone the new anti-cheat features. We will be dealing with these cases as soon as possible. And this is a fairly aggressive stance to take, inspecting other installed programs on your computer system and blocking your ability to play while they remain installed. We've actually been seeing more and more of this as game developers try to find new ways to contain the ever-growing rot that is the multiplayer cheater community. And while I do applaud Bluehole and Tencent for their efforts to keep the gameplay as fair as possible, I do have something to say in regards to this whole region lock China situation. Now, before I start, I want to make it absolutely clear that from this point on, everything stated here is my own personal opinion and my take on the facts that we're provided with. I know that better than 99% of you are fully capable of understanding this, but I do have to say it as there are a lot of people that are highly defensive of Brendan Greene, Bluehole, and of PUBG itself and instantly fall upon even a hint of criticism like a pack of rabid dogs. So this is my opinion, not an attempt to imply or impose facts where there might not necessarily be. That said, I find the whole region lock China hashtag movement and Brendan Greene's response to be slightly puzzling, and I especially find Brendan Greene's statements to be highly insulting to his fans, and I think he might need to take some time and gain some perspective. There are several reasons why people are asking for China to be region locked, and none of them are born of a racist or xenophobic standpoint, as Greene states. And while I know that I'm arguing against a statement made over a month ago, the issue is still going on today. The first reason seems to me to actually be more born of a desire for fair gameplay based upon either anecdotal or empirical evidence. As many people understand it, the vast majority of cheaters, some have said 99%, but I doubt anyone has the exact numbers, come from China, and as such, many people feel that locking the North American and European servers off from the Chinese player base would clear up the vast majority of cheaters almost instantly. This would have the added benefit of allowing the already in-place anti-cheat systems to handle things more effectively. The second is lag and rubber banding issues that result from someone playing from so far away. This causes high latency due to distance and can cause all sorts of issues that can ruin a person's game if teamed up with a Chinese player roaming around on a North American server. Again, at least in this instance, it is based upon concrete and proven issues, none of which have to do with xenophobia. The third is an issue that should be fairly self-evident. It is the fact that, as it stands, it is at least somewhat likely that an English-only speaking player might very well get teamed up with someone from China that doesn't even speak a word of English. This leaves two teammates that are utterly incapable of communicating with each other outside of gestures and grunty noises, to say nothing of coordinating with your teammate effectively, which is absolutely crucial in a game like PUBG. But to call all of that xenophobic? No, sir, you are objectively wrong here. And this is a very common thing to see in today's socio-political climate, and it is, to my mind, extremely disappointing to see Brendan Greene succumb to such tactics. The tactics I'm referring to is the now all too common occurrence of one person labeling another or a group of people as racist in some form or another as a way to discount their statements or opinions. Labeling someone while being completely bereft of evidence to back the assertion in an effort to discredit and demonize. They are obviously racist, so I don't have to listen to them. And stepping away from my opinion for a moment to inject some further facts into the conversation, it would seem that Bluehole doesn't think the same thing, and they have, in fact, been looking into match limitations based on ping, which they stated in an announcement on Steam a mere 2 days before the reports in which Greene called players wanting a region lock xenophobic. In that statement, they said, "We are considering limiting maximum ping depending on user network status in order to establish a smooth gameplay environment and enhance server stability. Before applying the measure to all regions, we will need to fully investigate its feasibility and analyze the outcome, so we will be running a limited test. After implementation, players with a high ping difference from average ping range for the region or players connecting over long distances will not be able to connect to a match. As a result, only players in a certain ping range would be able to enjoy the game together in the same server, which leads to a more stable and smooth environment. We will keep you updated on our progress as we continue looking into this method and analyzing our results." And I can already tell you the reason why they're looking into this, because mirror region locking will be about as effective as trying to stop a bullet with a piece of wet tissue paper. You see, VPNs are extremely common. Many services offer free VPN tunneling in a wide number of areas. Even I use a VPN while I'm streaming. I have to pay for it, and I had to search a little to find one that didn't cause issues on Twitch, but I finally found one that's stable about 98% of the time. Tencent, the kaiju-sized Chinese corporation that Bluehole signed an exclusivity agreement with for the Chinese market, is also a VPN provider themselves. It would stand to reason that given PUBG itself is called too bloody and deviating from the traditional socialist core values of China by the Chinese Audio, Video, and Digital Publishing Association, that Tencent would be able to offer some form of preferential deal on VPN packages to Chinese players. This also comes off the back that the game has to be free to play in order to comply with Chinese regulations, with an ever-increasing amount of in-game microtransactions to make up the difference. In the end, though, locking the servers behind a ping limitation is essentially a methodology of region locking without region locking. So red apples versus green apples, I suppose. But ranting about Brendan Greene's blindly calling players wanting a fair experience as xenophobic aside, Bluehole and Tencent continue to work as fast as possible to keep the game's servers free of cheaters and hackers, and in this instance, what benefits one benefits the other in this case. Players get to have more fun, and the developers get to make more money. In that situation, I don't think you'll find too many people outside of the cheaters, that is, arguing very much in that regard. But as always, please do let me know what you think down in the comments below. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters, especially the 20 and Up Club, for all their continued amazing support. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am SidAlpha, and I'll see you next time. If you like what I do on this channel and would like to see the channel go full-time, consider donating on Patreon or PayPal, as well as hitting that subscribe button and following me on social media. Links to everything are in the description down below.